Welcome to Holistic Human Performance Podcast. My name is Gena Bradshaw, where we talk all things holistic health, wellness, spirituality, fitness, meditation, energetics, and so much more to help you become the healthiest version of yourself. Let's dive in. This is not medical advice. This is simply to help you on your journey through health, fitness, and wellness. I hope this helps. You can complement this with anything that you are doing currently in your life. Enjoy. I can't believe it. It's finally here. Oh, I'm so excited to bring this to you all today. If you're feeling unfulfilled, body pain every single day, not sure where to turn, feeling stuck in your life, really curious about holistic living and spiritual practices, listen further. I have created this beautiful course that is my methodology that I've used into my own life, into clients, students, readers' lives, and it is called Metaphysics Your Health, Find Your Soul's Purpose. Health and purpose are directly correlated. You cannot have one without the other. When you're feeling fulfilled, you become healthier. When you're healthier, you find your soul's mission and purpose. And that is exactly what you're going to learn in this course. You're going to learn about all of the metaphysical approaches to health and wellness, holistic living. You're going to detox your internal world, your external world, and apply all of these amazing integrational tools and practices into your life. This is a foundational approach that you can come back to anytime. Whenever you level up and you need to come back to the basics, you can come back to this course whenever you need. I'm going to have a ton of bonus items, and you'll also get a special add-on to work with me one-on-one. And if this is something that you are intrigued by, I highly recommend, because the price will go up after a couple of months. So if you're listening to this now, go get it while you can. And I'm also going to have guest speakers to talk about astrology, human design, how that applies to our health and our lives. And with that, it is going to be life-changing. So if you're ready for that and you're ready to let the old you go, let your old life go, then this is the course for you. If you are a one-on-one client and a community member, you get automatic access to this course. So welcome to Metaphysics Your Health. I will leave the link in the show notes, or you can find it at www.holistichumanperformance.co/digital courses. Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of the Holistic Human Performance Podcast. I'm your host, Gena Bradshaw Vitale, and we have another episode today with Jake Santora, our astrologer that comes on every single month and breaks down the themes, what we're headed into, what the astrological themes are of the season. And we got Sagittarius season upon us, so I'm really excited to chat with Jake about this and kind of like where we're headed and what's happening, because there's been a lot going on lately.
Yeah,
What's
absolutely.
up?
Pleasure to be here, Jenna. Excited for Sagittarius season. We leave Scorpio and we go into Sagittarius. And yeah, it's going to be a great season. I think just reiterating what these seasons even mean before we get into the details is always powerful, right? Where
Yeah.
basically above us right now, the sun has, entered this kind of star alignment of Sagittarius, and the energy above us right now from a collective standpoint is going to resemble Sagittarius energy, and the way that it's going to impact all of us is going to be different based on where, this sign, and when we get into rulership, maybe where some of the elemental designs in our own natal charts, right, our birth charts are going to be resembled. But just reiterating that there's this collective energy. So when we say there's a lot going on, it's like all of us can tap into this beautiful energy occurring because of what the universe is literally doing above us. But to reiterate that we can lean into it, but we're always going to lean into it a little bit differently, as Sagittarius will resemble something different for me, for you, based on where they are. But we have this beautiful energy above us just pushing in the universe and affecting our energy fields is always the powerful of how we can leverage these seasonalities and the value of leveraging the seasonalities.
So Sagittarius, by the way, I get along very well with Sag. Like, I get along so well. One of my brothers is a Sagittarius, very grounded. It's an earth sign, right?
Hmm.
Very
No,
grounded.
you get fire, more fire.
Oh, it's more fire.
Yeah,
Okay,
fiery,
cool.
fiery.
So, but they have like that grounded element to them. Yeah,
Yeah.
okay. That I because I feel that when I'm around like Sagittarius people.
Well, that's what's really funny, right? You have Sagittarius. Well, Sag is rulership of Jupiter, and Jupiter's in your fourth house. So for
Mm,
you, everything, that's why I love astrology. It's like, wow, Jenny, that's a beautiful representation of Sag for you because the fourth house is going to be family and home. So that rootedness that you're talking about, that resonates really well with a person that has that Jupiter in that fourth house. So I love that. And your brother as well, kind of having the Sag element. I mean, that's the value of astrology, right? The power of what it can enticify in us. So yes, rootedness, but also a risk taker, right? You also see Sagittarius definitely, maybe it's not so much a risk for them, but I love the sign of Sagittarius because it's the arrow and it's all about taking your shot. You know, if you go up to
mm,
someone who's a Sag sun, right, born around this time, and you're like, take your shot, you'll kind of see them light up, I think, a lot. And I just love the Sagittarius element of, they're that bow and arrow flying through the sky. And, we may miss from time to time, but these Sagittarius, there's that, a little bit of fire element of like, yeah, let's go for it. Let's take this shot. And that's why traveling can come in. You might see a lot of Sagittarius that love to travel because that's kind of another thing that's embodied in this energy forces. But it's a beautiful symbol. And I actually get along with a lot of Sagittarius as well. And I've seen them actually come into my life a lot more, maybe when I need a little bit more of the emphasis to take my own shots. So it's also funny of
mm.
who comes into our lives with these different energies.
Love that. So, what can we, because Scorpio season was some deep transformation. That was like a lot. And now we're entering into the season of Sagittarius. So, what can we like expect? What's the theme? What's going on with the energy collectively?
Yeah, so I would love to go right from the things we mentioned just there about Sag, but jumping into Jupiter, right?
Okay.
So Jupiter rulership and those energy forces are going to kind of align. So especially with our astrology, with Captain's Legacy and the things that I've been learning with my own philosophy is we love the planets alignment with it. So looking at Jupiter, you have similar qualities where Jupiter is one of the largest planets in our solar system. It's very gassy, but it is massive. It's known a lot in astrology or even ancient times as the planet of the gods because it is so big. And
Mm,
when you hear that gods type of thing, especially in our social construct, we can resemble a lot to faith, right? And not so much any type of religion that you might associate with, but go deeper of just faith. What do you believe in, right? And if you bring that down to a modern thought of society, it's just having faith. So faith being a big thing. And I love the alignment you made with Scorpio season, right? We went very deep. We explored a lot of these wounds. And, now that we have these different energies, maybe we can carry some of that stuff over of what did I learn? What did I go through? And having faith that I've overcome some of those wounds or I've found a strategy to embody new energies and a new me. But faith is a key word of Jupiter, which goes with that Sagittarius because of the rulership. And also think about expansion. So Jupiter is also having the faith in upgrading and expanding because it's constantly growing. It's so mass and vast. So what are you expanding in your own life, right? So how do you expand? How do you upgrade? But having the faith that you can do so in that realm are some really good qualities that you can focus on around this season.
Mm. And by the way, guys, if you want to learn more about the houses, Jake breaks it all down in the Metaphysics Your Health course. Like it can get confusing, of course. There's a lot to astrology. And when you break down the houses and you go over these different planets that rule them, it can help you understand. Obviously, you want to go deeper with your birth natal chart, but it can help you understand what he was just explaining of like, oh, this is what you need to lean into more so, just what he was saying, like Sagittarius, and Jupiter is in one of my houses of where family is very much like rooted, grounded. So that can very much help you of what to lean into. This is general, right? This is collective. But if you want to get more specific, I highly recommend checking that out, reaching out to Jake and seeing kind of how you can integrate because we're talking about this, but it's like, how do you integrate this into your life? So, do
Yeah.
you have any tips of how people can integrate this into this, this season? Like, what's the best way for people to do that?
Yeah, and I think you also just bring on, right? Your intuition's always always on, Jenna. You're always leaning into kind of the seasonalities. So it's funny because metaphysics course is a great one that we've launched, and the what you're doing with it and those that are taking it, because even that leveraging of what you could learn from this holistic standpoint that we're talking about, but also Sagittarius Jupiter is also then the ninth house, and ninth house is around education. So you're also finding with these energy forces a lot of higher learning opportunities. So go into that expansion, go into that upgrade. Imagine upgrading yourself by learning. So taking our course would be tremendous. You can learn a lot more than just astrology, but you can learn human design. There's so much there. But also, if you're just trying to learn about yourself, journaling could be good by doing different assessments of what you want to learn from yourself. Or if there is something that you've had an intuition on, to go back to school or just take a course or a certification of some sort, or listen to a webinar, right? There's really, really great opportunity right now to find an opportunity to learn and expand yourself and improve yourself. So learning would go with all these different energies that are playing right now around us. So to integrate yourself, definitely take the chance to learn. So yes, reflection is big, but go out and seek more information, and even listen to this podcast is a beautiful opportunity that people have to learn with you, consistently, and us kind of on a monthly seasonality basis.
It's funny because we're headed into, as we're recording this, we're heading into this week is Thanksgiving. And the more that I interact with people, they're like, "Oh, like I'm putting it off until after the holidays. I'm putting it off until after the holidays." It's like, why? Like, why would you not lean into this time where it makes it, I don't want to say easier, but it's just more, I guess, of a flow into it, because this is the amplification of what the intention is, what you can integrate, and it just makes it a little bit more fluid, and you're not like fighting, you're not resisting as much, because then once you go into, right, you wait until after the holidays, you go into the new year, you wait, and then we're in a totally different season by the time New Year's comes
Mm,
around. And
mm,
like, it's a
awesome.
different element, it's a different energy, it's a different season. So why not just go with the cycles of life, honestly? Yes, we have routines, and yes, we are creatures of habit, but the goal is to also go with the seasons of life where this stuff is already like integrated into your life, where let's just say if you're having a day and you're like, what do I need? And it's like, I go to my journal and I just write it out, and then you feel better,
Mm,
and you can reflect on
absolutely.
that.
Yeah, and also then you're almost simplifying time, right? You're taking it one
Mhm.
step at a time. And I love, I've had a lot of people kind of come up to me and they've been seeking advice, seeking help, and it's always great. And what we get to do here is beautiful when people are, leveraging the insights of things that, you yourself have built a philosophy. You have built something so remarkable that's got proven results. But I do always kind of go to that joke of, January 1st comes and everybody's got a gym membership, apparently. Like
Apparently.
everybody, yeah, apparently everyone's just got in. And then January 15th comes and you're like, half are done, half are canceled. And that's okay, right? We all are on our own journey, our own path. But to that point, it's like, who's down to do the work? Because it's not always easy, right? And that's, I think, where me and you align well on the spirituality. It's the daily consistency, and I don't really love the word grind, but it's the dedication and engagement to it, right? To sit down and really take 30 minutes to think about my Jupiter, right, this season, or to think about my Sagittarius. Like, that's a lot of effort. That's a lot of mental stimulation. And then we're telling people to spend another 30 minutes to go educate yourself by listen to this podcast or take metaphysics. Like, it is such a beautiful opportunity with those tools, but it really is on all of us with free will. Let's take that time and take that effort, and imagine just every day improving yourself, every day taking the opportunity. And then when you bring these seasonalities in, it can make it more harmonious, right? So that's
Yeah.
really what I think, as you evolve, and especially when you want to change the script, it's not always going to be easy. It's not always going to be smooth, but when you can start to lean into the energy and play with these things, I promise it comes so harmonious. And that's really all we can hope for in life. Even if the harmony is like, I'm at 40% today. That's okay. How do I get to 42%? How do I get to 48? Like life is life, but if you're down to evolve, it can be something beautiful when you have that mindset one day at a time. So I love how you just put that was really nice of yeah, what are we doing every day to stay in the seasons, to stay in the moment?
Yes, absolutely. I love that. So what's the question of the season? What do we got?
Yeah, I think we're gonna go back to what do I want to learn about myself? I think that one just resembles kind of coming out of Scorpio season, right? We were focusing on wounds, but Sagittarius and Jupiter is, I think, the opportunity to learn. But then once you kind of learn something about yourself, how are you going to expand it? How are you going to grow to it? For me, Jupiter sits in my seventh house. So, as you kind of resemble the fourth house roots and the home and the brother, when it comes to me, I'm always been conscious of the partnerships and the relationships that I bring into my life. And I'm very conscious about the close connection because partnerships expand me. And it's just the reality of my life. It's not even touching my sun in the seventh, but just this Jupiter is something beautiful to me as it can be really harmonious. And look at our relationship. You've improved my life significantly. You give me wisdom. Like that's a great relationship, friendship that I can see, and those are the relationships I'm very conscious of. As if it's restrictive, right? There's a darker, harder energy sometimes of Jupiter where there's restriction. So the opposite of being infinite and expanding, it's how people that could restrict us, right? So I'm very conscious, especially relationship wise. In your setting, you're going to be more home and family. And anyone listening to this that looks at their chart to find Jupiter in a certain house, they can relate those experiences. But overall, the collective is, what can you learn about yourself is going to be just a key. And then you're able to kind of flip the script from there. But see how it resembles and manifests into your natal chart could help give you some insight too.
This is really interesting that you just brought this up because I think a lot of people don't understand that when you are going on this journey and you do lean into, and I think this is where fear comes in for a lot of people. They're like, well, if I change, then I'm going to lose this person. I'm going to lose this opportunity. I'm going to lose, like, that is kind of the, I guess, quote unquote, darker side of up leveling, ascension, kind of going on your soul's mission and purpose, but it is part of the game. And, a lot of people do not speak on this, but as you evolve, you will take a look at number one, you'll learn more about yourself. And with that, you'll have those boundaries. You'll have like a different type of seeing of, oh, this person is not on my same wavelength, like this person is cool, this opportunity not good, this doesn't align with me. So being able, when you do learn more about yourself, know that it does come with that. So just so you're aware, that that does come with the territory. And it's not a bad thing, it's just part of the journey. And if someone that you're friends with, you just don't align with them anymore, hopefully they do their own work and they level up with you. If not, I mean, it's just people come into your life for a season, situations come into your life for a season. So just so you're aware, when you do this deep work, these are some of the things that can happen.
So beautifully put, so well
Thanks.
put, because it's like, because then I think, when I found astrology, it was like, I think the manifestations of our own experiences. And I feel like there's always the question of why. Why is this other individual? What did I attract almost, right? What
Yeah.
came in? So for me, funny enough, when you say you get along with Sagittarius, right? How did you know that? Because you started asking questions about these individuals. And then it really is fun to be like, wow, like we're all playing a role together. Sometimes that role for individuals is to walk away. Sometimes that role is 3 months of an experience in this regard, right? I mean, romantic relationships, people break up, people, get new relationships, people are in business, they work for different companies. So we're always evolving. The journey is always with us. We're the main character, we're the main story. So asking that why of like, wow, especially right now, right? I've seen a lot of Sagittarius come into my life, and I've been able to kind of correlate it to, yes, this Jupiter in the seventh, as I mentioned, but not to confuse people, you can look just for the sign as well in your natal chart, not just Jupiter, but you'll see this arrow. For me, it's in the 10th house. So I'm seeing a lot of Sagittarius come in my life that have this fiery energy as I'm a little bit sometimes quiet and controlling. So I get to kind of see, ooh, this is like some energy that I get to see in front of me that might enable my Sagittarius to come out too. So it's always like, ooh, what's going on around me? What energy fields are there? And that being okay. It might be for a couple months, it might be for a day, right? When you just interact at a coffee shop, could be a few years. You don't know, but to the point of like, yeah, growing and adapting to the highest potential of ourselves. I mean, just imagine every moment of the day being okay. Like, I don't know if anyone in that world has it right now, and that is difficult when our social construct or society is what it is. But if you can find and source your own life and just be okay with each moment because you've asked why, it's a beautiful place to be.
Yeah, that's how you evolve. That's how you help the collective. You know, your actions are a ripple effect. And even though you can't see it, you know, it is energy and it is a frequency that you give off. And so by you shedding, by you stepping into this more expansive version of yourself, you invite new opportunities, new people, new places, new
Mm.
things, and that also in turn will help you expand.
Yeah. What is I'm curious, what has you said your brother's a Sagittarius.
Yeah.
So I'm very curious. What are some, maybe if you don't want to bring him in too much to it, but what are some great qualities you found with him just in our Sagittarius traits?
That's so funny you brought that up because I was thinking about this the other day and like he's the youngest of the five of us. So like I mean I was kind of his second mother, you know? And like I see him like evolving and growing. He's always been like he just never gave a fuck. Like he just never gave a shit about and I swear I don't know what his human design is. I got to look it up, but he is like a professional manifester and he doesn't even like realize it. Any like he just doesn't care. Like things just happen for him so easily. And again, it's like so cool to see that because I'm like, yes, awesome. Like you don't even realize you're doing it. Let's tap into it and be like consciously
Mm.
aware of it now and let's see what happens.
Uh,
And he's had so many great opportunities happen for him lately especially. He's 22. He'll be 23 actually
uh,
on the 27th.
uh,
Yeah, and ironically enough, I'm June 27th, my sister's July 27th, and he's November 27th.
that's
So
great.
27 is our
That's
lucky number.
Love that. Love that. Hell yeah.
Yeah.
And that's
Yeah.
beautiful. And I love too when we see it and people maybe aren't as conscious of their charts, right? Or just these energies, but they're manifesting and acting it out because the energy is real, the intuition is real. And there's many people that don't know astrology that even have never even seen their chart, but I get their chart and I'm like, oh, like it's playing out beautifully, right? Because you're just leaning into the energy. But yes, if you can be conscious about it even more, or just sit in that awareness of like, I'm sure for him, it's like, yeah, I took this risk, it worked out. Wow, like of course it did. Of course, he's a Sag. It's like,
Yeah, he's
take,
like, yeah,
yeah,
it's
yeah.
fine.
Yeah, I mean, I'm gonna jump off this rock. I'm gonna land in this water, and it's gonna be great. Like that's a great energy of Sag. And then you get your upgrade. That's the power of leaning into it. Of it's just one moment at a time. Because if you can just upgrade your soul one little moment at a time, like you feed into that energy, and that's how you start to stay at these higher frequencies. It's how you start to get up that frequency scale of the soul because you're playing with the energy, and then you're like, wow, how did this abundance just come through? Because you dedicated yourself to the right energy field and you're finding the alignment. So that's beautiful. I'm glad that he's playing it out. I appreciate you sharing.
Yeah, and it's funny because again, like I'm the oldest, like again, female in the family, so I definitely have more of that like I do give a fuck kind of energy. And you know, sometimes I'm a different person now, but like the perfectionism, worrying and all that stuff. And like I see kind of how my other siblings are like, no, like you need to care a little bit. And I'm like, no, 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 like let him just do his thing. Like stop. Like trust
Mhm.
me, just like he unconsciously knows what he's doing and he sees that it's working. Like, don't disrupt this.
Mm, that's great. Yeah, and that's the thing too, is you got to let the energy manifest in the right way. And I think, as I've mentioned, right, I'm also in getting my master's for marriage and family therapy. So I'm doing a lot of modern psychology work, and part of that is always about the environment, right? So even knowing astrology, knowing your chart, the fact that you're setting an environment like that, and you mentioned very sun cancer, of course, second mom. That's a great line from a cancer sun. Right, and then the fourth house that's loaded for you, going to that Jupiter, right? You're expanding the family, you're bringing in it, but um the point there of the modern psychology that I keep learning, it's always about the environment. There's a lot of times where energy can't manifest itself because of the environment. And as if you looked at older history of charts, you look at a female's chart from the 1910, just think about the environment then, and there was restriction at times because of the male female things that we're dealing with, or race can come into play when you look at these different charts. So going to setting up an environment, knowing the energy of another individual, that is almost like magic. It is so beautiful to
Magic.
see it. Like, you got to have both to align it all.
Yeah, and if we all learned about this, I mean, think of how much just understanding, like you're in therapy, right? You're now also bringing in astrology and just to know this information and you automatically like when someone I'm talking to, again, I'm intuitive, so I can like read energy, but I'll ask them like, "Oh, when's your birthday?" And like I already know what they're gonna say, and they tell me what their sign is. I'm like, "Yeah, I'm very characteristic. Like I get it." But like
Yes.
understanding that because then you know how to approach the person, then you understand how to kind of, I guess, maneuver conversations and like ask the right, really like asking the right questions and setting it up for success and kind of also knowing like, oh, they're not willing to go there. Like I'm not even gonna bring that up. They're not even
Mhm.
open to that. So
Yeah,
that's
yeah, and I
that's
think
very
being
important.
being conscious and being okay with that too, right? There's that element of, the Sagittarius, go take that shot, right? That's the line. And then you see them light up, and that's all it is. That's what it is when you're having these conversations, is it just resonates with their soul because they get it into that intuition. And I was talking to a person who was a Pisces, and you're like, what about journaling or drawing or taking photos of this, right? Because Pisces is very imagination, very illustrative, and it's like, whoo, they just had this sense of relief and like, ooh, something was blocking me from actually doing those activities. Now they do them, and it's so healing. It's so therapeutic because it just got over the hump a little bit. So Sagittarius season also being the risk takers, like take that risk now, take your shot. We all can collectively do that because we're in this season. But right, the overall purpose of what we're trying to emphasize is the spirituality point, right? To it is came here to evolve. So, I always go back to I'm figuring out who I was, who I am, who I want to be, but also who did I
Mm.
contract out to be? I made a contract here, it's in the chart. So how do I make all these kind of resonate and align is something powerful. And that's where I'm at to try and learn more about myself even deeper, and great seasons to it. And
I love it. Thank you so much. This was so just eye-opening, and I hope the listeners gain something from this and they actually lean into the season of expansion and take a risk. I mean, listen, let's be real. Like, you want to up level, it's not going to be comfortable. It's going to be uncomfortable, and you have to be okay with that and know that it's going to work out for your best and highest good, even if it doesn't feel like it.
well said, well said.
All right, guys, if you like this episode, like, share, subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.
Bye, Al.